Hi, Constance. So nice to
Hello.
see you. So nice to see everybody. Hi there.
Really, really great to see you. So glad. Thank you for taking this time. I just love seeing you, and
It's
it's
a
so exciting.
pleasure. Yeah, it's a pleasure. I wanted to ask you, Constance, I'm really excited about your book. It's a beautiful book, and it's a really profound journey. And before you tell us, I mean, actually, Jack and I read your first draft in 2010 when you were doing the community Dharma leader training at Spirit Rock Meditation Center. And in your book, it shows that you were meditating in the Christian tradition, you were in recovery in hermitages for like 25 years. Then you got into Zen meditation, and then you found the progress of insight, which it seems like that was the one that really helped you, go deeper in the way that you wanted. And I'm just like, how did all that happen? I have so many questions for you, but how did all that happen?
Oh, yeah, there's a lot. That's actually so much that I want to tell you, but that's in the book. So, but yeah, I spent a lot of time in hermitages because part of the 12-step program is to meditate and spend time meditating. And I worked with these beautiful Franciscan nuns who taught me about contemplative prayer. And I spent many decades practicing contemplative prayer, where I would just take a prayer like the serenity, God grant me serenity to accept the things I cannot change.
Yeah.
And I would actually say that really slowly with the breath, just really calmly and really slowly all day long as I walked around and as I ate stew with the nuns and stayed in the hermitage just to get a little respite from parenting. And then I would just continue like this, but I would have these mystical experiences that were amazing. And then I would come home and I'd go, wait a minute, I'm struggling again, I'm struggling so much. And then these questions about who am I, what am I, just became so strong in 2007 that I was driving down the road and I saw this sign for a Zen center. And I went, I need to really check in and just really do some intensive practice and find more help, find more support, reach
Yeah.
out for further instruction if possible.
Yeah.
And then the book unfolds and tells more about that and about how I did come across the progress of insight, which really normalized what was going on with me. Because I would go through these periods of real intense opening, and then it would contract again and it would be really difficult, and I'd be kind of like being rubbed. So,
Yeah, my first teacher said he talked about how when you practice at a center like that, and also if you live in a family, you don't have to be in a Dharma center. Um, he said the process is like boiling potatoes in a pot of water, and they bump into each other, and then they get peeled. It does not sound like a pleasant process, does it? But this is how we get, peeled of everything that gets in the way of our awakening. Um, so I wanted to ask you, because and how did you do all that, Constance?
just really by prioritizing and slowing down and just really being mindful of things and like spreading things out.
Yeah,
If I
I
wanted
see in the chat that some people don't even know the title of your book. I'm not sure if your folks are looking at the chat, but yeah, I was gonna say, show us the title of the book and then tell us. Yeah, I can't imagine that you built your own house and took care of your kids and did all that.
yeah, yeah, I did. In fact, usually one of the most grounding things for me to do is to pick up my tape measure, a big bulky tape measure. And then I go, okay, what do I need to do next? What's the next right thing? And then it would come to me. This was like a grounding activity. And we were looking for pictures for the book, and for about 15 years, we didn't have any pictures of me because I was just busy working on the house and doing what we need to do to survive. But we found a lot of pictures of studs, pictures of the kids holding a tape measure so that I could measure the studs and have a record of that before we put sheetrock up.
You know, it seems to me it took almost as long to write your book as to build your house.
Yeah, it did. It did because, most books that you read in the library and that are really written from people who have a lot of resources and who have, it was hard for me to find editors that I could afford. And it was really helpful to finally have some support here by my sons. They grew enough to where they were like, I'd like to help out. And
Because I think that's another part. When I say, you were building your house, it took as long as your book, 15 years or 20 years, whatever it was, you'll tell us. But I don't think people realize that you were building your house with your own two hands, largely by yourself. You did not have a penny extra and barely enough. And I think that's really important for people to know because I know for me, I'm trying to write, and as soon as there's any sort of disruption, I feel like, oh, I can't write. And then I think of you, and I think Constance was building her house and writing a book.
that's right. Yeah, I would wake up and think about how I could square an opening and get that opening squared up and shim it and put in a window and get that figured out and trim just right. Then I would stop, you know, and meditate and just take it easy and see, okay, how can I put a few words together? What are some things that I can do? Just little by little.
I
And it
think
was less.
that's the key. I think that's the key. You said little by little, just step by step, you did it.
Yeah, and last December I was really ill when I was in the hospital. Um, I told my son, I said, if I don't make it, if I die, I'd like you to get out that manuscript, and that would be really helpful. I think I'd like you guys to read that. And then after I got better, they had dug it out, and they came to me and they said, we're not waiting until you die. If this is your
Oh.
They said, if this is your dying wish, then this has to get done now. And so that's what's happened this year, is that we've really devoted a lot of attention to it this year.
Well, it's a tribute to you that your sons had that wisdom and understanding of impermanence, and especially when you looked like you were dying, that's a wake up call. That really is a wake up call.
Yeah.
So you ended up in Southeast Malaysia in a monastery in the using the Mahasi method of Vipassana practice and basically meditating all the time and noting everything you did as a mindfulness practice. What was that like? I mean, is this something you would recommend to people who are here with us today? What was it like for you?
Well, I kind of feel like with the practice there that I was combining, like everyone comes into their practice sort of as a combination of fountain of what is here already in their life and what their propensities are, where their body and their somatic energies move. And so I wasn't really doing strict Mahasi practicing. I was moving with my own rhythm as well. I was dancing in my own way with kind of a noticing practice, not so much of a hard noting practice.
Yeah.
And that was because I had 25 years of all of this sort of practice with myself and my own body already. That I think that's how we do it. People they come into the practice through what they know already, and that gets mixed in. So I found my own way. It was really beautiful place to be because this is so honored over there. It's so completely honored and offered for free.
The meditation
The whole,
practice, you
yeah,
mean? Yeah.
it's offered for free, and there are people coming and going and practicing, and it was so beautiful. Just the seriousness and the respect and the attention that it was given over there was just like wow, really.
I think it's a delicate balance between, like you were saying, trusting your own body, following your own rhythm, bringing what you knew from other parts of your life, mothering and the contemplative practices you did in different traditions, bringing that in to trust yourself, but also following a method.
Yeah.
following a practice.
Yeah.
Um, I know for me, there's a tendency to want to be a good girl and do it exactly right, and it gets too tight.
Right.
But then, on the other hand, if we just do what we feel like doing, yeah, the ego gets in charge. So, what would you say about sort of that balance? Because that's really what you were talking about. You
Yeah.
found a way to do. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I was just sort of working with that balance. Like I got up at 4:30 every day. You know, I was up and I was getting dressed and I was getting ready and I was preparing. But I was really working with like balance in the body and the mind, and then approaching the practice moment by moment by moment. You know, each breath, each touch, each hearing, each seeing, and just really noticing what was predominant as it was coming up. And it's beautiful. It brings up such delight and amazing ability to cope with difficult circumstances because it was very hot. It was challenging to be there in many ways. It was very hot. And then, of course, I ended up having all these hot flashes. And as perimenopause started right then, and I didn't know if I was overheating or what was happening. It was so intense. So I had to pay really close attention to the body and really honor water, needs for water and for personal care, and just being with each moment, each breath, each, noticing moment by
Yeah.
moment. And my teacher
I think,
was really helpful with that too.
yeah, I think it's also really helpful for people to hear, like, what are the fruits of the practice that you felt? You know, what are the freedom of heart or whatever it is? I think that's really encouraging for people to hear because you've done so much practice and you've been through so much hardship too, Constance. You know, just well, you can list some of it. And
Well, I don't go into too much of that in my background, but I do talk about my recovery a little bit. And yeah, I was a foster child growing up, and I was homeless as a child. So that was difficult,
yeah,
and had a lot to recover from and work with. So, but I did it little by little and worked with animals and Shafe, and that was amazing as well. And that really helped give me an even deeper foundation of the soma and working with the body and really letting feelings come up and work with them in a really honoring and compassionate way. I really learned that too from Anne. Um,
that mindful self-compassion now is being taught very explicitly in the mindfulness movement together, but it really wasn't in those early days, not at all.
yeah.
It wasn't emphasized. It was always there, but you had to discover it. And yeah, yeah, so you got that there. And then I'm also curious about people who would like to really like to learn about your journey of such intensive practice, Constance, such dedicated practice, and how you did it step by step while parenting, while building your house literally from scratch because you didn't have any, extra resources. I don't know how you did it, but you did it. Um, and I think that it would be good for people to know where they can find your book and how they can access your book because it's an inspiring story. I
Well,
love your story.
you can get the book on Amazon, amazon.com. And you can also go to constancecasey.com/substack and also just constancecasey.com. You can,
Yeah, show us the book again
oh,
because some people are joined.
and
Show us the book.
this is a picture we took just down the road. It's Minnehaha Creek here in Minneapolis. And it's just a beautiful picture. As soon as I was out walking with my sons one day, I saw this and I said, that's it. That's the cover. It's right here.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
uh,
And what else would you like people to know about this book and why it might be important for them to read it?
well, I want everyone to know that this really big shift in consciousness and really knowing who you are and really being present in this human life is doable. That you can do it and we can do it. By supporting each other, we can do it. It really is doable. You know, you can pace yourself also. You can go slow and you can build up your meditation practice. And you can really honor the beauty of who you are more and more each day.
Thank you. Thank you. That is beautiful.
Also, please
Are there,
tell people about cloudsangha.co.
oh,
I have
tell them.
I
Yeah,
have
please.
I have 7 groups that I lead on Cloud Sangha, and they're just amazing. The people that are coming together and finding benefit from helping one another.
So explain to people what is Cloud Sangha.
Cloudsangha.co is a sangha. It's an internet sangha, and there are people coming together from all over the globe for all of the different groups that are offered, mindful friends groups. And in each mindful friends group, there's a guided meditation and there's a chance 25 minutes to share in small group with others. And so you really are connecting with people and using your voice to really listen to yourself and to listen to others. And it's really a beautiful connection. I see a lot of people benefiting.
And how do you see people benefiting?
Oh, I just see them going, I'm not alone. I'm not alone. And there's someone else that has these same aspirations and these intentions for kindness and for connection and for compassion. And that they can offer that themselves more and more. They can really let that in. Just this morning, I was leading a group and saying, what goodness about yourself can you let in?
And it really comes back to what you were saying at the, just earlier when you were talking about just the fruits for you of, feeling so much freedom and possibility and joy. And I love your message to everybody that you can do this. You can be present with your life. It's workable. You can do this.
Yeah, there are these options. We can do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Wonderful. Is there anything else that you want to say before we close? How people can find you now? Just repeating that might be good. And your book is on Amazon and also on your website.
Yep, just check out my website for my other offerings, constancecasey.com. And constancecasey.com/substack is where I have a newsletter coming out once a week with little short videos that I'm doing about practice and about insights that I feel, also books and movies and things that I think are really helpful for people to explore. And I think that's a lot of fun right now, working with the video and the audio.
That's a great resource for everybody. Thank you, Constance.
And
Thank you
thank
so
you,
much.
Trudy. Thank you for being such a support to me all of these years. Thank you for being there.
Listen,
Helping me through epilepsy and so many things.
I have always believed in you, Constance. And as you know, I had the blessing of being your teacher in that long retreat, and I really saw how the practice was just blossoming in you. And um, I believed in your being able to do these impossible things, get your book out there. And believe me, I resonate with that one. Build your house from scratch, raise your boys. I mean, I just really respect you a lot and uh, respect your dharma. And I hope that people will come and learn with you, Constance.
Well, thank you so much, Trudy. I really appreciate your support. Much love.
Much love to you. Mm.
Bye-bye. Here you go. Check it out. Thank you.